one of the things that has intrigued me the most about the character that you play is it's almost an interesting juxtaposition where you play a character who dons a uniform. He's a police officer, but so he's used to sort of telling the community what to do. But at the same time, your character is one that has been historically and really currently, arguably, oppressed by the same community. Tell me about the relationship that you understand your character to have with the community, with society.
Well, you got it absolutely right. Well, that's the irony of his life, where he's trying to take control of the situation, but he's somebody who is not being able to take control of his own life. He is. If you see from a broader perspective, of course the trailer is fun and there's comedy, there's humor, but actually if you see it from a broader perspective, he's a lonely guy. He's a guy who can be there's so much of frustration inside him because of the societal pressure and the family pressure. He's not being able to come out in the open and tell them what his sexuality is, that he is not interested in getting married. And because of that pressure, he gets in this arrangement of lavender marriage and gets married to this girl who's also in the same circumstances. She's also facing the same situation. So I think, yeah, it's just such an irony.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about the voice that cinema can provide to those that have been historically oppressed, but making sure at the same time that the representation is accurate. What I mean by that is in the past 5-6 years, I think there has been an increased sensitivity and increased awareness to ensure that there is an accurate portrayal of somebody's lived experiences. And, we talk a lot about representation. Tell me about how you ensure that you do not fall into those potholes that are so stereotypically defined for people who, for example, is a police officer. There's a certain swag that comes with that when you wear a uniform. If you are of a particular sexual orientation, there's a particular set of physical connotations that come with that, especially when you look at Hindi cinema. Tell me how you make sure as an artist. Obviously, there's so much in the writing as well, which you've talked about in previous interviews. The writing really does the job for you too. But as an artist, how do you ensure you take that responsibility to not fall into those potholes of stereotypes?
Mm-hmm. Well, as an actor, I'm somebody who does not believe in doing things in a conventional way. I always want to break and stereotypes. And that's exactly what even Harsh, my director, thought, and our writers thought, Akshat and Suman, that, if you see starting from the basic, his profession, as you rightly said, he's not, because most of the times when we see, especially in Hindi films, if somebody's homosexual, most they would do is they would be designers,
right,
or something like that. But here, Shardul is a cop, and he's a bodybuilder, and he's kept this mustache. So I think he's breaking, and his body language is not feminine. He is a man. He is a man who is homosexual, and that's the case with a lot of people out there from the community, which I have seen. And that's exactly what Harsh wanted to do. He never wanted to go. He never wanted to take the route of conventional ways.
Mm-hmm.
Even in Sumi's case, you see, she's a strong, independent, fiery woman. Sumi, her character, which is great. I think I love such stories. I love such scripts where you're not doing the obvious things. We are breaking the stereotypes and pushing the boundary and to do something different, which can surprise people. And thankfully, it has happened with our film. The first look itself, people were like, no, hold on. What? We've never seen something like that before, which is great.
Right. I want to talk to you about love and the concept of love that sort of goes beyond the romantic relationship that we see on screen, because you have a relationship with your on-screen mom in this film. Obviously, that mom is a part of that community, which is, wanting her child to get married. Tell me about portraying love and getting that warmth across on screen, which I see in the trailer. I see that there's warmth, which is very important. But tell me about the love that you have to portray towards everyone else, the non-romantic love, without showing the resentment that I think a character like yourself would feel, given
Yeah,
his,
yeah.
given the fact that he has to suppress, a major part of who he is.
Well, he's Shardul is somebody who's got 5, 6 sisters, and he lives in a joint family where it's full of uncles and aunts. So he's the only son out there. So the pressure is even more. I think that's why he's way more oppressed. But the only support system that he has is in his mother. And it's a beautiful relationship that we have in our film between Shardul and his mother. Of course, there's a beautiful graph with mother's character as well. And when you have good actors like Shiba Chadda and
Right.
Seema Pawa, it becomes easy for me to, because when you the moment you look into their eyes, you know that you're not seeing true emotions, and they are playing that character. So it makes my job very easy, that I don't have to put any extra effort to show that that love that you feel for the characters. And also as an actor, I work on my relationships with different characters, because there's a particular way I would behave with my mother, or a different way with my sister or my aunt. So I work on relationships a lot, because I think that is what films are all about. It's about relationships, and showcasing those relationships.
Right. What surprised you the most as an actor? And I know that you have done some phenomenal work. I've been a huge fan of the work that you've done. But to ensure, I think, an interest in what you do, I think there has to always be an element of surprise. There has to be an element of something new you learn about either yourself as a human being or as an artist. What's something that surprised you, or something new that you learned about yourself as an artist or as an actor through the course of filming Badhaai Do?
Well, two, three things. First thing was, nobody has before Badhaai Do has asked me to build muscles, because I thought, it's I'm all dedicated to my character. Whatever my character demands out of me, I do that. I couldn't have had, of course, physique like this in Shahid or Trapped or Newton or Omerta. But Harsh wanted me to be in this particular shape, and there's a very strong reason for that. It's not like just for the heck of it. He wanted his lead actor to be this muscular guy. There's a strong reason for that. That why he is in this shape, or why does he love working out every day? And it's a backstory. There's a whole backstory to it. And apart from that, of course, I was aware of the problems and the trouble that people from the community face on a daily basis. But after playing this part, after playing Shardul and living this life, especially in some of the scenes which are very hard hitting and very emotional in nature, I realized how lonely and frustrating this can be, to live in this shell where you're not being able to tell the world who you are exactly. It can be a very lonely journey.
Mm. Lastly, I want to, and I know you've been at this for some time, and I know I have some time constraints as well. So I'll wrap it up with a final question. Rajkummar, when you think about, and you and Bhumi have talked about this as well, about when you watch the entirety of the film, when you really take into account the experience as well of these characters, what's the one thing that you want the audience to live? What's the one thing that you want the audience to experience when they go through that journey of all of the characters, specifically yours and Bhumi's?
Well, I think they will laugh out loud together with these characters, and not on them, which is the most important thing. They'll
Right.
never laugh on them. They laugh on the situations they are in. But eventually, I think once they walk out of the theater, they'll feel for these two. They'll go back with a heavy heart, and maybe some of them would question their prejudices and the way they would judge other people.
Right.
I think that's something which I have experienced when we have shown our film to a lot of people, and everybody come out with that thought process, and it takes them some time to come back and then start talking about the film. I think that's the kind of reaction we are expecting out of people. Of course, after 2 hours, after a day, you would think about the jokes, and you would laugh out again. But eventually, that's the kind of reaction we've been getting for our film. Yeah.
Amazing. Rajkumar, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on all the strides that you've been doing, that you've made in your professional life, but also your personal life recently. So thank you so much for your time, and congratulations. I wish you the
Thank
very
you,
best.
Armin. Thanks a lot. Thank you.